Just one microphone. And it sounds so sarcastic, like a guy telling you they started their restaurant with with one rice or nothing. But yeah, we started with one microphone. We thought we could do a podcast. Then we started talking. People got interested. Then we realized that it would be a business. We had one camera then, that big camera. So it could take all of us. Then we...
The one he's holding?
Yeah, the one he's holding.
Uh-huh.
So you could do everything. Then we realized we wanted the back and forth in the conversations. Then we got these guys. Then we realized we could actually really produce videos. So we got other bigger cameras that now do music videos for people. And now podcasting and live streaming. Since the time has been shaky with you, the live stream, also the internet in the meaning was bad. I just put off the live stream. So we'll just publish this as podcast form when it comes. For you, how did you start? You're doing incredible stuff, man. How is it for you?
Thank you. How did I start? What exactly?
The entrepreneurship. Let's go there.
Entrepreneurship.
Just tell me about you. What do you think about you?
My name's Ssempijja Stanley.
Yeah.
I was born in 1996. I'm 25 years old this year.
1996 makes you 26.
26 at the end of the year on my birthday. Yeah.
Your birthday is by the end of the year?
Yeah,
okay.
December. Yeah, so I went to school. I went to high school in King's College, Budo.
That is one of my... Let's actually just pause there. How much of King's College, Budo, do you think defines you as... From now, like you look at it from out of school, how much do you think, just passing through, how much of that environment... I went to Naminango College, by the way, so I know a bit of what college taught me is so much solidarity. And there's a lot of... the society helped me stand alone, helped me understand that in life you can stand alone, but with collective, of course, college has a solidarity, friends and boys, so it mattered. But also the opportunities you get from just coordinating to people when you leave college is a bit of a trick, because me, I didn't even finish campus yet. It's not something I really took out, like, you know what, I need to graduate and stuff. But I still do a lot of work for people from college, people who are into high profiles. So a lot of that defines... A lot of my clients are just hobbies. So it defines how I am. For you, how is King's College? How does that define? Do you think it mattered? Was important?
Yeah, for me it's quite a different but similar story. Getting into King's College was more of a dream come true. I worked so hard. I worked my ass off to get there. And I succeeded.
Yeah.
So the mere admission was a very big landmark in my life. And when I got into there, I of course I faced a few challenges.
When you say you worked hard, you mean you really put in the reading, just specifically to get into King's College. It was like, okay.
Exactly, because I knew I needed top marks, the best marks to get into that school, because it's always takes the best. Yeah. So when I got into there, their culture was a bit different from where I was coming from. So it took me some time. It took me a couple of weeks to actually fully adapt to their culture. You know, walking into a school and everyone is putting on a moccasin, and you're putting on a different kind of shoe. Everyone is walking a different kind of way. Yeah, so that was, it was a bit challenging for me at first, getting into the culture. But with time, I adopted, and it was quite a very good and challenging experience, having to, you know, compete with a lot of bright students.
Yeah.
So
I think everyone in Budo is bright, right?
Yeah, everyone in Budo is bright, but of course there are some that stood out. There's always some that stand out, and I should say I was one of those for...
Stood out in class,
Yeah.
With the performance.
Yeah.
You got in with 4? You got in from S1?
From I got in at A-level.
A-level.
Yeah.
Okay. How by then? What were you taking in? Did you get in with? How many points did you get?
I got in with 11 in 8.
Incredible stuff, man.
Yeah.
Then left with?
I left with 19 out of 20.
Nice. That also now dictates why you chose to do pharmacy.
Exactly.
Did you want to do pharmacy?
I had 2 options on my mind, because I did a course that could see me do medicine or pharmacy. But I talked to a certain gentleman. There's a gentleman called Peter. He was more of my mentor before I joined. He told me, you know what? I see an entrepreneurial aspect in you. If you take up medicine, it's going to take up all your time, and you won't have time to express yourself in something that I believe you're talented in.
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do now is take up pharmacy, because once you get your license, it will give you the liberty to do anything else that you want. And I didn't hesitate. It was my first choice, and I got it. And I went into medical school with a couple of my hobbies. Yeah, and I think I should say I went through medical school with my hobbies. So Budo had a very big impact right from my university.
So specifically, you did medical because you were performing very well.
Yeah, I was performing very well, and
Not
I was
that you really wanted to treat people or have something attached to
yeah, I should say I've not been passionate about treating people. It has never been my thing, but I performed well in class. I performed well in biology.
You had to.
I got an A. I performed well in chemistry. I got an A. So
You're left with no option. Really.
I really had no option, and I wanted to make my parents proud. So I went in for pharmacy at campus. Yes.
Interesting. Then the entrepreneurship bit. How do you then jump out of you know what? I'm just making my parents proud because I have to, and I mean they're paid all the school fees at King's College Budo, to jumping into what now you love to do. Do you actually love what you do?
Yeah, I love what you do. Absolutely. I started doing that in at school.
Yeah.
At school, I had a brother who was a fashionista. So what I did is I used to give him money to buy me clothes that I could sell at school. Yeah, so at Budo, I used to sell jackets every after VD. He would get me these nice jackets, and I sell them off. And I like that idea of, trading something, and you get an interest. Trading off something and getting an interest. So in my vacation, I joined my brother. He's also an entrepreneur at Kampala Road.
Yeah.
I joined him, and I started trading computers, laptops. That was before I joined campus. So as I was doing it, I realized it's something that came off naturally and easily for me. I easily did it, and I loved doing it. Yeah, so I did it during my vacation. I made a good sum of money, good enough to start a business. However, I was supposed to join campus in a few days or months.
Yeah.
And I had this fear in me of you can't do pharmacy and have a business. So I first closed that off completely.
With a school?
Yeah. I closed off entrepreneurship completely because I knew the course I'm doing requires a lot
Wait, you first went ahead with a school then?
Yeah, I closed.
I need to first make my parents proud.
Exactly. Yeah, after vacation, that short period, I think it was about 3 months, I switched off completely. I switched off my numbers. I sold all the stock that I had, and I decided to, let me go all in for school. In my first semester, I did well in school. I didn't get a retake. My biggest fear was getting a retake.
Yeah.
But when I joined first semester, and I didn't get a retake, I started thinking about how can I do business again. However, it was a bit tricky. I tried it in my second semester, and I had challenges. Yeah, I had challenges. I was always passing at the edge. I almost got retake. So I decided that, you know what, maybe I need to switch back totally into the books again. So I switched back into the books. Second year comes. During that second year, we had a period where students striked at Makerere, and the president closed off the campus.
Yeah.
So when they closed off, I saw that as a very big opportunity for me to go back to entrepreneurship. So when I went back to entrepreneurship, it started working for me, and I realized, you know what? I'm studying this, I'm doing well, but my heart is here. This is what I want to do. Yeah, the books are going on well. Everything is going on just fine.
What informs now your financial capacity after the president locks out to actually now go back into the entrepreneurship? Because you had sold off everything and decided to do the book thing.
Yeah, so financial capacity, I should say I totally used up my savings in my first year because I was used to a lifestyle of spending a lot because I was earning.
Yeah.
So I took on that lifestyle, however much I wasn't earning, so I used up all my savings. So jumping back into it was about knowing people that have things and knowing people that can buy the things.
Getting rich off.
So I jumped back in as a middleman. Yeah, get something from here, sell it here. Get something
Get your
from here,
cut.
sell it here. And it worked out immediately for me. So when they reopened campus, I had challenges now sinking back into the school, environment. And that year was my worst. That was my third year. That was my worst year. That is when I got the most retakes. And and at the end of the third year, I had a back and forth on the internet. I think you remember it with Sheila about iPhones.
Yeah, about iPhones.
Yeah, and
Yes,
by that
yes,
time,
yes.
I was selling computers. So when I had that back and forth, I got this fame, which was I expected to last maybe a day or 2 or 3. So when I watched it go on for a week, I said, you know what? This is when I need to take this opportunity. Everyone on the internet knows me for iPhones. So let me just start selling iPhones, because people will always buy from people they think know a lot about something. So the whole internet was convinced I was the Mr. iPhones in Kampala.
Yeah.
So I took advantage of that
That's
situation.
genius, man. Really
Thank you.
genius.
I took advantage of that situation and rebranded myself to start selling iPhones. That's when I came up with Sage Buyers. That's when
The name. What's Sage Buyer?
Sage is a Latin word that means wise.
Wise.
Yeah,
So the wise buyer.
wise buyers. That's how I came up with it.
Okay. Incredible. Also, no, that's also another genius thing. But the brand, that's where I picked so much interest in you. I have started an online brand. Just like Stories is almost similar. Twitter Famous, I used to run a few games back in the time. How you've managed the brand is really incredible. And you just keeping to go. It's also that marketing looks to be very expensive. I don't know if return on investment really trickles in, but you really go hardcore with the marketing. So those are questions those are tips we'll probably learn from you. But the branding has been incredible for me. It has been really outstanding from a young entrepreneur. You've I think you brand out more than even a light online. If someone is to just check online on who is selling the phones, the iPhones, there's a bigger chance that they will find Sage Buyer before they find authorized dealers. Well, they say they're no. Are you an authorized dealer for Apple? No?
Not yet, but that's in process. Yeah.
Because I think there's no authorized dealer in Africa.
There's actually, Elite is an authorized Apple reseller in East Africa.
Okay. Are they authorized?
Yeah, Apple
But
authorized.
you said Buyer is also looking forward to this. Now, but the branding, how do you really intensely understand that, you know what, I need to have an outstanding brand? And we could go back into Steve Jobs' story. It's weird, but it was also more like there was a lot of failing. Besides for you, there's been a lot of winning in your life. The schools, the academics, but I also knew that you were acing class before you came on the podcast. I was already told. How do you now understand the real marketing? Like, you know what, I have to go hardcore. And how do you get this money to market as a young entrepreneur? Because you see, it's hard to keep a business. More so if it's branding online. These are paychecks you're giving out to people always as you're expecting to get in the sales. Then I do not know how much sales you really get from internet people, because then iPhones are quite pricey. You don't expect a random person who you don't expect the eat lunch to be your target audience, because the latest iPhone now goes up to 5M, I think.
Yes.
13 Pro Max. It's not an average trip that they'll have 5 million. There are trips who have 5 million. No offense to anyone, but the average person does
An
not
average trip on New York.
So for you, how does it occur to you that, you know what, I aggressively need to do this? Because the one thing I know anyone in Uganda has perfected branding, it's Sage Buyer. That one is hands down. I talk about it with my friends. I'm like, for anything Stanley does or says and triggers you off, just don't forget that man is pushing one of the biggest brands online. And people might not really see the depth of it, but me, I've seen this brand stay in existence from how it has started. How old is it now?
It's making 3 years.
Nice. So for you, what is in for the marketing? How do you understand it? How do you really know,
I'll go back to my story. I've always wanted iPhones. I've always been a passionate user of iPhones. I used my first iPhone in vacation. It was gifted to me by a friend called Rutaisi Remedy. I think you know him.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, it was an iPhone 5, and in our vacation, he had an iPhone, but he had an extra iPhone. So he's like, you know what, go and use this. So I take it home. I start using the phone, and I'm totally blown out. I'm totally impressed by how this phone works. Of course, I was using an Android smartphone before. But when I touched this iPhone, everything was totally different. It was very easy to use. It wasn't freezing. It was taking the best pictures. Whenever I could pull it out, people would, stare at me and, Center's iPhone was Ijawa. So that was my very first iPhone. So that very first iPhone got an issue. And I took it to downtown. I took it to Mutasa to be repaired. And when I took it there, I faced a lot of challenges. I faced a lot of
struggles.
yeah. I was swung back and forth, and at the end of the day, yeah, they switched
robbed in between there. It's
exactly.
crazy.
They switched the parts of the phone. They gave it back to me worse than I took it there.
It's the same experience I got.
I asked myself, now where can I report this? How can I be helped? I know there are so many people who are going through the same thing, or who would want the same kind of help. But then I just abandoned it and said, you know what? Let me just get another chunk of money and buy another phone. And at that point, I was earning, which was good. So I got like 50% of my savings and decided to just buy another iPhone. I think it was about $1 million by then.
Yeah.
So I lost about $1 million, and I had to invest an extra $1 million to get another iPhone. Because you see, with iPhones, once you get into this ecosystem, you never want to leave it. You can do anything to stay.
I'm one of the only people who have really left. I was such an addict to the iPhone world that I felt like it was so much that I looked out so towards the next phone, but then it kept just being that. It's the next phone. It's the next phone. And the times just kept coming closer. Before you know it, the next one is coming.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, this pressure, no. Let me just first relax with the phone and let people enjoy them.
So what phone are you using now?
A Samsung. I'm not a Samsung guy. I want to buy the iPhone because now I want to shoot really moving videos, and the iPhone really has the cameras that can do that. Plus, I trust the waterproof thing with the 13 Pro that I can shoot videos in the pool. Maybe that is what will put me back. But also the S20 does that. So to me, it's also the accessibility. I don't find the iPhone, since I can't get work off that laptop. That's not a Mac. All that, and I'm around, all the PCs I'm using are all personally built because they have to get the space to handle all these videos. We're shooting 4K, all that stuff. I'm like, you know what, Apple, it's really good. The user interface is perfect. Apple Music alone, how my music is filtered, I think it's the best. To me, it's better than Spotify and any of that stuff. But I was like, you know what, the pressure alone to just keep up with the next one,
You gave up.
Yeah, let me relax with the phones.
And I think that's the beauty, because it gives you anticipation.
Oh,
I'm using the 13
but
Pro
when
Max,
does it stop?
but I can't wait to get my hands on the 14 Pro Max when it comes.
Yeah, but let's go back into the marketing.
Yeah.
Because in this marketing, you've also given out a lot of phones.
So I was still giving you my story. I asked myself, how can this be solved? But of course, by then I didn't have the resources. So I kept on dealing with different people getting my iPhones, but all the people, I couldn't identify someone who is straight, who can do things the way I want them, who gives me their word and keeps it, who is honest, who is going to follow up with me as their customer, who is going to, give me a call after 6 months and find out how the iPhone is working, who is going to give me a good discount, who will give me a chance to win an iPhone. There was nothing like that in the market. So when I break the internet and I realize I'm now famous for iPhones, I tell myself, you know what's done? This is the time. This is the time for you to change the game. This is the time for you to change the narrative of iPhone dealers. I sat down and I had a vision. I wanted to start this brand which is reliable, which is honest, which is customer-centered. So I started Search Buyers, and I've always tried to keep that at the core of the business. We value the customer, and we believe...
Have you had any bad customer experiences?
Yeah, of course, a lot of them.
Any other business, yeah?
A lot of them, like any other business. But we always find a way to make sure the customer is satisfied at the end of the day, because that is what matters.
Yeah.
That is the center of business. My goal was not to make money. I didn't get into it to make money, but my goal has been to better people's lives, to make sure
How are you bettering people's lives with giving them iPhones at a cost? Because these are costly phones. In a country where people are, the economy is now up that side, people are complaining about the fuel, whatnot. How does me having the iPhone make my life better, in your opinion?
So you realize you're running a podcast. Which
Yeah.
podcast you have to publish on the internet at some time.
Yeah.
So you need a good phone that is going to help you get good content, put it out there, and also follow up on that content.
That's right.
And the iPhone does exactly that, and even better. So in my once I'm providing these devices,
Yeah.
I'm trying to provide the best device to every single customer, something that is going to enhance their digital lives and help them live better and enjoy their lives more.
How do I know that what the iPhone they're selling me is a fake iPhone? The photographer, the DLP for this, Moses, his iPhone struggles with connecting to the internet, to the Wi-Fi. It can't connect to the Wi-Fi from here. The Wi-Fi server is right there in the editing room, yeah? So, but when he has to go next to where the server is for it to connect to the end, and I think that's not how it's supposed to be. The iPhone is supposed to be picking up. I mean, it's the iPhone.
It's supposed to be picking up the Wi-Fi at a reasonable length.
So how do I know that I'm not being sold to a fake? And you know, fakes come in two different copies. Guys have real hardcore, second hardcore, but it's still a fake. I have also seen at the apartments, Bellwether, I've seen people in the pool get out. Some go into the pool with the iPhones, they come out alive. Some go out and they come out with tears. Just within 5 minutes, the thing just shuts down. And I've seen it with my bare hands. So how do I know that I'm not being sold to a fake?
How do you know that I'm not being sold a fake?
How do I get the authenticity? Besides the fact that, okay, knowing that Sage Buyers is present and I can go to them, they have a company and a brand at risk. So maybe they have decided to sell good stuff. That's a good start. But a normal guy who's just listening in and they would want to buy an iPhone, how would they know?
So first of all, I'll categorize my answer into two. Are you looking to buy a brand new iPhone, or are you looking to buy a UK used iPhone?
Let's go to both. UK used. And what do people say UK used? Is it used by people in the UK?
Okay, I'm gonna explain that in a few. I'll start with brand new. If you're buying a brand new iPhones always come with a serial number that is embedded outside their box. Apple has a website. It's called Apple Checker.
Yeah.
Into this website, you can enter that serial number, and Apple will give you the details of the phone, whether it's brand new or it was activated before. So that is the first check for brand new. Your phone shouldn't be activated according to Apple Checker, because you're supposed to be the first person to activate it. And once you activate it, it is registered in the Apple servers as activated. Now, there's the challenge of some dealers repacking the used phones.
Wait, first repeat that. The whole Apple Checker thing when you go to the website?
The website is applechecker.com. The phone comes with a serial number that is on the box before you open it. So the first check for the brand new ones, if you're buying a brand new phone, a brand new iPhone to be specific, you need to first check the serial number on the Apple website, the Apple Checker. So once you key in the serial number, that website will show you whether that phone has been activated or it has never been activated. Now, activated is that step of setting up the iPhone.
Yeah.
The very first,
Names, country,
exactly the name.
stuff,
Once that is filled in, the serial number is registered in the Apple website as activated. Once it's not filled in, that means your phone is brand new and you will be the first user. Now, there's a big challenge of a lot of resellers repacking used phones or refurbished phones and selling them as new. So you can use that check to get over that, to really clarify whether a phone is brand new or not. So if you're buying a brand new phone and you find that it's activated, then you're not buying a brand new phone. You're buying a used phone that is packed in a box. For brand new phones, that's quite easy, as you've had it. And then it comes to UK used phones or used phones.
Yeah.
Now, UK
What
used
is a UK?
UK used is the term we come up with to define phones that haven't been used in Africa. So sometimes they're not exactly from the UK. They may be from Italy,
Dubai.
They may be from Dubai. They may be from the Philippines. They may be from India. They may be
But
from
hold
the
up,
US.
there are two feelings with people, with the normal buyer. People have a weird feeling if they say that Dubai used and the UK used. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
That there's a difference between Dubai, but I don't understand it, so that's what I would want you to help.
Okay, so Apple makes there's this big misconception that clients come with.
Yeah.
Apple makes different models for different regions. Apple makes a model for the US. It makes a model for Europe. It doesn't make anything for Africa at the moment. It makes a particular model for China and Hong Kong. And then finally, it makes what they call a global version. So there's no phone that is made for Dubai. There's no phone that is made for the UK. Yeah, the phone is either made for Europe, it's made for US, it's made for China and Macau, or it's made for
The
global use.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it comes down now. Dubai used and UK used, they may be the same phone. Someone could, because Dubai is a collection of different markets. So in Dubai, you can find a phone which is US, just like you find here in our stock. We have US, we have UK, we have China, and we have the global versions. So Dubai used and UK used, I think, are just cliches that people, have in their heads. But these phones, there is no phone that is made for Dubai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it's used, because I found this term in the market, UK used, but to expound on it, it may come from the UK, it may come from the US, but it's used, but not from within the country. Yeah. So for that, what you have to check is the spare parts. Is the screen its original screen? Is the battery the original battery that came with the phone? That is what you basically need to check. And for the screen, there are different checks. For example, if you're using an iPhone 8 and above, the screen has to have True Tone. There's a feature called True Tone where the screen automatically adjusts the lighting to match that of the environment. And now once
the originality of
once that screen is changed and they put a replacement screen, that feature will never come back.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you go to the battery. Apple now has, with the latest software, it will tell you whether the battery is authentic or not. So that is also another different check. But that phone has to be running on the latest software. So with used, once you verify that all the spare parts are Apple certified, then I should say you're on a safe side. Yeah, so that is basically how you can differentiate between the used, the fake, and the authentic for both brand new and used.
What does search buyer, how does it plan to, I don't want to say stay present in the market, because you have stayed present in the market, but do you think there's uniqueness, or any other guy that is going to come and deal iPhones is going to beat you out of the market? What's the uniqueness with Sage?
Our main uniqueness is we focus a lot on digital. Our goal is to become the leading digital brand when it comes to iPhones in the whole of Africa. So that is our main focus. And for another brand to come and beat us at that, it's going to have to be some work. And we are very consistent.
How are you making sure to this that you're the biggest digital thing? Explain to me your marketing. Like, how do you put it all together and be like, you know what, this is it? And how is that bringing returns on investments? How are the campaigns? Because you do a lot of campaigns. Let's talk about the campaigns you really do. You're now running a family campaign?
Sage Family. Yeah, so how we run the campaigns, how we run the marketing is, first of all, we define our customer. We know the characteristics of a person who wants an iPhone. And we know the characteristics of a person who wants an iPhone X. We can also know the characteristics of a person who wants an iPhone 13 Pro.
How do you tell that this person and their characters, they don't deserve the Samsung S20, they deserve the iPhone? What is that thing on the internet? Is it the selfies that slay queens are too many? There's a lot of Instagram and people really need clear pictures. People are selling facades and stuff. But you know what? Let's push them out. We have the gadget that has all these specifications that match. But the pricing, the slay queens never really have a lot of money.
Yeah, but they figure it somehow. So the iPhone is, first of all, it's a good product. It's something that you don't have to talk a lot about. Yeah. So marketing a very good product is easy because now you focus on other things, value additional things. So when you look at our market, you look at the needs of our customers. What do customers need? What are customers looking for?
Yeah.
What is the customer of a 13 Pro Max looking for? What is the customer of an iPhone X looking for? And that is how we'll sculpture our marketing campaigns. We target the customer and we try to focus on the customer's needs and fulfilling the customer's needs. And we also try to be as consistent as possible.
How are you balancing the entrepreneurship and the pharmacy work? Because pharmacy is also, it pays, it's up there. Courses they've always told all of us to look up to, and there's the money. Because that actually says that you're right when you say you're not doing the entrepreneurship just for the money. You're helping the people because you have gotten the money in the medicine. How are you balancing it out? How easy does it come to you? What is in your mental space that it's easy? Because balancing also business startups in Uganda, one thing I've realized, you need to be into it full time to understand it too. But I noticed you really sold your phones yourself first, so the people, how is it like?
Balancing the two. When I was starting Sage Buyers, I started it alone.
Balancing actually the entrepreneurship, I just don't want to, because
balancing entrepreneurship and the pharmacy.
Entrepreneurship, you're doing other businesses.
We're talking about balancing the two, balancing entrepreneurship and balancing the profession, pharmacy profession. So I'll give you.
What do you love most? What do you love doing?
I love entrepreneurship. It comes naturally. I do it easily, and it pays. It pays me easily. Yeah, I don't have to, wait onto it. I don't have to struggle so much. Even when I struggle, I feel like this is my purpose. This is my purpose. I'm making people's lives better. I'm making things easier for people, and I'm also getting paid in return. So I started Sage Buyers as a single person. I figured what works and what doesn't work. I got a team on board. So I have a team of about 10 people that I work with. The CEO of the team or the leader of the team. So balancing becomes easier when you have people you can delegate certain tasks. For example, Sage Buyers can run without me going to the shop because the people I've trained over the time to carry out the tasks that I could carry out. So now I focus on other things like strategizing, like customer experience, like making sure my suppliers are happy, making sure customers have good relations, making sure we don't have any unsatisfied customer. But the daily activities are run by other people. So that makes it easier for me to, go do the pharmacy and then come back to entrepreneurship and have things running smoothly both ends. Because I've built a team, I've trained it. They believe in me, I believe in them, I trust them.
How's your normal day like in your mind? How do you compartmentalize the business, the pharmacy, the social media? Because also you have to keep up with all that. How is it like in your mind for you? For you, the tweets explain them, some of them. We're going to go into them, but how is it like for you?
I wake up at 5 a.m. every morning. So when I wake up, I do a little bit of meditation. After meditation, I always make sure I read something.
What does meditation mean to you, for you? What does it help you?
Meditation helps me have a calm mind. It also helps me focus because there's a lot going on. As an entrepreneur, as a pharmacist, someone is asking for this, another is asking for this, another is complaining about this. So for me to stay organized and to stay composed and to stay calm and to focus on the things that matter, I usually meditate. It helps me start my day on a good note. So after that, I make sure I read something that is for my personal development, that helps me do better as a person. So after that, I then sit down and start planning my day. Entrepreneurship. I have my tasks, I have my roles as a CEO. I spell them out. I mark out my to-do list for the day as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. I also mark up my to-do list as far as pharmacy is concerned. And then I can start my day.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's quite easy because once I've marked out what to do, I know my head is now organized. I know at 10 I'm going to be doing this and nothing else can make me change from that.
What's your relationship with drugs like? seeing as your pharmacist, and I'm asking this because one, a lot of entrepreneurs our age, because we're not, I'm 28, we're not so far away in the bracket. Our age, you can't, when you have the power to make your own money, you also have the freedom to make your own rules around you. Now, freedom comes at a cost most of the times. Usually people my age don't, and if they're exposed to money, we don't skip. Three things are always in line with money. There's pussy, money, weed. Weed can now be the bracket for the whole drugs. For you, what's your relationship with drugs? The good thing is you also have a medic background. You understand benzo, all that stuff people use.
Yeah, my relationship with drugs, I'll start there.
Yeah.
About a year ago, I think that is when I was at what I thought was the peak of my fame on the internet.
Okay.
And as you know, it comes with a lot of pressure, having to keep up with appearances and, all that. So at a certain point, I went through the challenges that most people go through, especially when they have money and then they have this fame. So I did drugs at a certain point.
Interesting.
Yeah, but fortunately...
How bad? How deep did you go into the drugs? Because, drugs, weird. And I have another podcast, the Mindspace podcast, that's strictly a podcast dedicated to mental health. Reason being, one of the reasons I am very dedicated to this podcast is because me and my friends have gone through a lot of stuff, and people never want to publicly talk about these things. Yet we all go through them, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a street child, whether you're what, you're either addicted to some stuff and you're fighting your own battles. And so how deep is it for you, and how do you break out from them in that time of the information?
I think
is it the women, and what brings you to the drugs now?
I think it was really deep, and I think it was really deep because most of my friends, most of the people I had around me then were doing them.
Okay.
And this, reach a certain point in life as a young person, when you have some money, you always have those people who are trying to
spend
prey
the money.
on you, to spend the money.
Yeah.
And all of these people were people who are doing drugs. So I get into spaces where the people that I find cool are doing drugs, and I'm enticed to try them.
Yeah.
So I try them, I like them. As you're starting, you think you're sharp, and you think you'll do it.
Them.
Yeah, you'll handle. I'll only do this over the weekend. I'll only do this at this point of time. But I think drugs are like gambling. You can never really win a casino. You can never beat it. Ultimately, it beats you. So I get to a certain point where I had started using drugs almost every weekend. Fortunately, I had people around me that noticed there was my behavior was starting to change a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, fortunately, being someone from medical school, I knew people who, I knew there's a doctor called Dr. Benjamin Akimana. I think you know him. Yeah, he was my friend and he was my client. So when I started going through these situations, he's one of the best psychiatrists in the country. I approached him and talked to him man to man. You know what? I'm going through this. I know it's not that bad now, but I'm scared it might get worse. From what I can read, because I know what drugs can do, this is where I'm headed to. How do I break out? So we start on a journey to, stop this. And along the way, fortunately, I get a very supportive partner who couldn't tolerate the drugs at all. And I really love this person. And I had one thing to do if I really wanted to have this person. I had to totally quit the drugs. Oh. Yeah, so that's
how... So your relationship comes to you as a blessing in this guy. It's just not the love and the lovey-dovey. There is so much... okay.
Exactly. There's a very good story behind it.
Okay.
Yeah, and
do you believe in love? Have you experienced love like in its
I have. I believe love is one of the best feelings, and it's one of the best
How
things
do you know
in the
you're
world.
in love? Like you're in genuine love, and it's just not. Again, I'm asking you this because you're an entrepreneur who has access to money. There are two things that happen when you have access to money, and this is one of the things that I believe that I was very less informed about. Money gets things done because it can get things done.
Yeah.
So on the surface level, you can hang around when you're working of course, you have what the average girl would want. So to have bad bitches around you is quite easy. But to really know that now this is my person, now like your story, that's very encouraging. That you actually have someone who has helped you get off drugs that could have taken you to some bad position in your life. So that's very encouraging. How do you feel like, you know what, this is love? This is my definition of love.
My definition of love is two people being able to understand and appreciate each other on all levels, emotionally, physically, psychologically, financially. Once two people are in a relationship where they understand each other, they care for each other, and they're willing to make certain compromises to make the other person feel better or be better. For me, that's the real definition of love. And I believe love shouldn't be a situation where one person is taking and the other is getting drained. Yeah, I believe it has to be a back and forth kind of situation. You gain from me, I gain from you. You do for me this, I do this for you. That is my definition of love. That's the perfect
world. But don't you think we are in a world where, again, for you to sustain, mostly like for us men, for us to really sustain relationships, you have to be the one making the most money. You have to be the one, even if the woman really is well read enough and they're really open-minded, you feel some type of way if you're not.
Yeah, if you don't have something in your wallet.
It's weird to have a partner who is better than you at very many aspects. Let's say academically they have MBAs and you don't. You feel some type of way. It takes some really intelligence for you to know that, you know, it's just really life.
Yeah, you have to be very open-minded to tolerate that. Yeah.
You believe that if you died today, you'd at least know that when I was on earth, I experienced some love. Okay?
Yeah, so for me, I believe, okay, the man provides, that is natural.
Yeah.
But you have to be providing to someone who adds value to you.
Okay.
You have to be providing to someone who is adding substantial value to you. It doesn't have to be financial. It can be as easy as how, putting an outfit together for you. For example, this morning she put all this together. I just woke up and dressed up.
Interesting.
Yeah. It can be as easy as preparing a meal for you, because as a man, you have other things to focus on than being in the kitchen. Yeah. So for me, it's always not about money. It's about how someone makes you feel and how someone appreciates you and how much someone is willing to compromise a few things to make you feel comfortable. That's my basic definition of love.
Love and success. What's your definition of success? And that also comes to, I have heard your tweets some days when you have said, I'm the richest 20, from when you were 23 years. You're saying this, I'm the richest 23 years. Sometimes you're saying it to joke, and I would get that. But then I am of the thought that I want to really understand what is going through in your mind in that time. You really feel like, you know what, because I've felt like that. I don't know how other people felt, but to me, I okayed because I have felt like that, where you feel like, much as you know that there are people doing better than you, but you really feel like, you know what, for me, this is, in my mind, I am the richest person. What's your definition of like success, and how do you feel about success in general? Do you feel it's all you want from life?
I'll go back to my childhood. I've always dreamt about being the richest person.
Being Elon Musk right
in
now.
A city, in a country,
in the world.
Yeah, it was always running through my head, so I was always working towards that. So sometimes I say that because I was prophesying upon my life. I'm the richest 23-year-old.
power of words and
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe in the power of words. I believe in faking it till you make it.
Okay.
And at this point, I don't think there's so many people of my age who are doing better than me. And
how do you come up with that conclusion? What informs your perspective on thinking? And I really want to know, like in generally, how do you weigh into this one? This is what my better is, and this is what their worse is. When you say a lot of people, I'm doing a lot better, your definition of better is what exactly? Yeah.
My definition of better is I'm doing better than this person. It's a 360 kind of thing. Socially, mentally, financially, economically. So it also comes down to the people you're exposed to. As a Budonian, I believe I'm exposed to the A part of the country.
Yeah.
So when I look through the A part of the country and I'm scoring better on certain
levels,
weighing scales, then I know I'm doing good, I'm not doing bad. Yeah, so for me, that is my definition. And it is something that I've always dreamt about, and it is something that I want to achieve at a certain point. I want to be an Elon Musk at a certain point in my life. And I'm working towards it. And I know that comes through creating.
How far and how realistic is it that you can become an Elon Musk? In your mind, how is that real? Like, do you have like a planned strategy? Let's say with the entrepreneurship and the pharmacy, do you believe Elon Musk is going to the moon and rocket in the sky? And I'm not saying I also really feel like I'm modern day Elon Musk. I feel, but this is how I want to relate to Elon. It's on how he thinks and how he perceives the world in general. That is the kind of perspective I also like. Minus the money, because you see, not like in Uganda, it's hard to tell who is rich. Genuinely.
Yeah,
because the guys
that's
who
true.
have money have either stolen from government. There's a chunk load of people who have stolen money from government that cannot go washed. So you cannot genuinely know that I am at the bar, this guy is popping bottles. And maybe they have a formula, maybe I want to be like that. So you can't even you can't be sure on who has to mentor you. Yeah? Because you could be there seeing this guy, they're tweeting thousands and they really just got a COVID relief and put up whatever they put up.
Yeah, and maybe they laundered money from the internet or something like that.
So how realistic is it for you that you are going to accumulate enormous amounts of wealth? He's still richest in East Africa, and he has been for a very long time. Guys have not passed him. So to me, I really want to be rich as a person. But the reality of it all, when I put my cards on the table, I'm like, how easy is it going to be for me? Is it just a saying that I have to be, I'm going to be rich and believe in myself, but how easy is it? How special can I be that I'm going to at least reach today's level? The man owns Kampala. Wherever you look, there's his building.
Yeah. There's a guy called Ty Lopez I usually follow on the internet, and I listen to a lot of his podcasts.
Yeah.
And he usually has this saying of rich people are not rich because they got lucky. They're rich because they are providing value to the people. If you look at Bill Gates, what he's doing, Microsoft, how many people are using Microsoft? How are they using Microsoft? How many corporations are using Microsoft? So for me, I look at it in an angle of providing value. You talked about Sudil. If you walk out of here, there's a chance. Myself, I go to speak apartments a lot because the service is good. They have all the facilities. So I believe in providing value, providing as much value, and I believe the more value you can provide to people, and the more people you can provide value to, the better you can get financially. So I'm looking at an angle of making sure I use what I have to provide as much value to people as much as possible. And the more people I can provide value to, the more my bank accounts will be, blessed. I don't believe in making money.
What's your genuine end goal in life? What are you looking to accomplish?
I'm looking to helping as many people as possible live better lives. That is my goal in life.
Yeah.
I want to help people become better in all aspects of their lives.
How do you have a rough idea of how you can implement that?
I have a rough idea of how I can implement that from my two ventures.
Yeah.
I have to make sure I'm providing the best products. I have to make sure I'm following up on these people. I have to make sure they're making the best use of their products. I think you've seen a lot of...
so your follow-ups are also in the use. When you sell me the phone, you follow up on how it's helping.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, once you purchase a phone from Sage Buyers, we always keep our records. We get your name, we got your email address, and we get your phone number. I believe right now we have the most data about iPhone users because we have consistently been keeping it ever since the business began. So we believe in data. We have the data of iPhone users.
No.
That is why you mentioned the point of competition. It's going to be hard for someone else to come and overrun us because we have data of
Are you selling the most iPhones in the country? Genuinely? Do you think?
I believe, though it's not something I'm going to put out there publicly, but
Okay.
At the point, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put it out.
Yeah, I believe I'm selling a good number, given compared to my competitors.
But there's a lot of people selling phones in town. It's at some point it's even hard to know. Minus the market, the people you are appealing to who really understand the value of the phone and they buy it. The people who can have the time, because you are looking out to brand digitally and become the biggest digital. So that puts a special class of people that really attend to the message you're trying to put out there. Yeah. Now, that also leaves a rather big ignorant class of people that are just driven by the winds of how to sell. What to buy. Once they drop into town, they get to these numerous guys that the next guy that's selling phone, whether fake or good or what or good, they're in business. They've been in business. It has worked for them. That's good. How does the average person just get to know that, you know what, it's search buyer, or for you it's strictly going to be the person who can access the internet?
We've had a couple of satisfied clients in the past. So it goes beyond. We have customers who don't use Instagram, who don't use WhatsApp, who don't use Twitter. There's this class of people who just uses their phones for
they use it for
and we've usually gotten those through referrals. There's a book called Contagious about marketing.
Yeah.
And a satisfied customer is the best marketing tool that anyone will ever have. That's what it says. So we've had a couple of satisfied customers in the past to also help us get these people who are not on our different social media platforms. And then second, we have different partnerships with different companies. In an urge to add value to our product, we've made several partnerships, including that with Lipa Later, where you can come, pay 10% of any iPhone, and we give you the iPhone and you can pay the balance in 12 months. Now, Lipa Later also has a platform where they...
What is it? How does that work? They give you 10%. In fact, I'm going to... Moses, have you had 10%? And you come with the latest iPhone. He wanted an iPhone and he has been asking you, I need to buy the iPhone.
Yeah.
How trusting is it in our society that... Because ideally, guys out there, when you look at timelines for Uganda A, the ones that live outside the country, they're able to access cars, dope phones, because they can get things on credit in their countries. Their systems are designed like that. But to us, to put together just 5 million and then get all this 5 million and give it to said buyer at once is a whole pain.
Yeah,
But if you're giving us to credit, also that comes to what's in for you. How do you trust me that I'll really bring out the balance? How does it work?
So in partnership with Lipa Later, we have an online form where we get the details of the customer. Now, there's one very important thing. It's called a bank statement. Once I have a look at your bank statement, I see how your money flows in and out. I can tell whether you can finance a phone of 5 million over a period of 12 months. It's easy to tell. It's not so hard. And then to also keep ourselves secure, we get certain documents of the customer, for example, the national ID. So for you to be able to access this service, we ask you to upload a copy of your national ID. And on top of that, you sign a Metropol credit form. To make ourselves more secure, to secure our sides and our interests, this is also insured. And the customer pays the cost of the insurance. Yeah. So once we combine all that
the
data...
phone is very, very expensive if I'm getting it on credit.
It's more expensive than when you would get it on cash.
But you're still giving it to me.
Exactly. However, it also gives you some type of freedom, because getting 5 million at once, you rather get 500k, or 5 million at once, that is 500k times 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you rather get that.
In a year, if I'm earning 2.5, I can afford the latest iPhone.
Exactly.
Okay.
So all you'll have to pay us is an interest rate of 4.2% of the remaining balance every month. And I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Because paying about 570 instead of 500k Ideally, it should be 500,000, but there's that extra fee to cover for the extra, for the insurance and also for the interest rate. So I think it's fair enough. Getting 5 million from your pockets as an entrepreneur, I know I need cash. So if I'm able to finance something as I also make my money, that would work for me. We also target people who need these devices to make money. For example, as a YouTuber yourself, as someone who has a podcast, you would love to have nice gadgets that you can use. And sometimes you don't have the capital at once to get the gadgets. Yeah. So once we give you the gadgets, you can use those gadgets to make money and then pay us. So it becomes easier in that way, and it becomes more beneficial to society to be able to finance these gadgets as they're using them.
Interesting. How, in terms of market investment, have you gotten back what you've invested, let's say in marketing, in terms of profit, in the space of 3 years? This is just to inform the entrepreneur of how heavily invested you are in this. You've done giveaways to people. I don't know if they know the math, but for a fact, even Jumia has existed around 9 months. I don't think they're broken even yet. And I used to work for them at some point when they just come up here. But in terms of the startup, is it profitable? Yes. Do you also, how big do you want to scale out as a shop? How are you looking? Are you like Rocket Health? You know, Rocket Health is also a Ugandan startup.
Yes.
It just exploded. Now the guy got 5 million in terms of funding. Are you looking at the same? Do you want to go extremely as big as that?
Yeah, I'm looking to.
What's the plan for Ssempijja?
Yeah. My main goal is to become an Apple franchise, to have an Apple franchise in Uganda. So what I'm looking at in terms of scaling, I want to be able to provide as many iPhones to different people, to different corporations, to different organizations. And I also have a business-to-business model where we supply funds to organizations and they can finance them over a period of time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so our main goal when it comes to financing is to be able to serve as many people across East Africa as possible. About breaking even, most companies don't break even until the first couple of years. Ssempijja is a bootstrapped entity. It is something that I didn't gather a big amount of capital to start, but I was using the resources available. And to my advantage, I had a lead start. I had a good start because I was already famous on the internet, and I didn't invest a coin into that.
Do you attribute your business idea to one Sheila Gashumba, or some bit of it?
It's good to give credit where it's due.
Okay.
Yeah, and I must say, I started Ssempijja because of Sheila Gashumba.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we've always had this conversation with her, though someone would never believe it.
Do you now give her free funds? No, of course not. That's a big she holds.
Yeah, but
she's a customer.
Yeah, we're good friends.
How much of Steve Jobs' life as an entrepreneur, first of all, and also as the guy who started iPhones, which you're selling, making money off his death, how much of his life and his story inspires you, and what specific motivation from him? Oh, is there any, by the way? But I've seen he's one of the guys look up. You have a whole portrait of him at the workplace. How much of his life? And what in particular about him, about Steve Jobs? Because speaking of which, he was actually known, when you look at the employees, he was not like a really, really good boss. He had failed on a few personal things as the individual. But that's the thing, character is may never judge people on their character. I look at what they have done, because we have all behaved in some type of way. Look at Chameleon, such a superstar, but I've been in bars where he will just come and just splash away your bottles, like, because it's Chameleon. So how much of Steve Jobs inspires you?
Steve Jobs inspires me right from how we started from the small space of a garage, trying to build computers.
Is that realistic here? Can you, because one, you also didn't even start. Isn't it, that story of in the garage, even Amazon, I think it applies in Africa.
I think it actually applies here because If I'm to describe to you how I started, it's quite of a similar story. I started with nothing. I started with just social media fame. I didn't have chunks of money to stock or do things like that. No, I started from
Nothing, yeah.
from an iPhone.
That was just given to you.
Yeah, that was just given to me by a friend. So I believe in the way he started. He started small. He started with a friend. They built something. And most importantly, he always looked at the market. What is the market lacking? There are computers already. There is IBM, which is one of the top companies. I'm sure he couldn't imagine he would beat them at a certain point. But he was focused on building something that is quality, something that is good, and something that is going to wow the market. That was his factor. He wanted that wow factor. Whatever he built, he wanted it to stand out. So personally, whatever I build has to stand out as well. Whatever campaign I put out, I have to make sure it has a feature that stands out and is appeals to our customers. Yeah.
Do you think your ego as a person and for your personality is a key factor in standing out for this? Also, do you think it's a good thing to have an ego?
I think it's a good thing to have an ego because once you have an ego, you have standards you can't go below. You have set standards for your life, and you usually can't go below them. There's a famous speaker who usually says, you are your standards. Yeah, you're not what you want, but what your standards are is what makes you. So as a person, I have standards, and the same standards apply to my business. If you ask anyone that I work with, they will tell you that I have standards and I never compromise on my standards. Once we have a customer at the shop, I have to make sure that customer is satisfied. I have to make sure that customer gets what they want. We are not about getting their money, but we are about satisfying their need. So all my employees know that once a customer comes, you need to find out what the customer needs. We are not just trying to push a sale. We are not just trying to make that sale for the day, but we are trying to satisfy a customer's needs. So with Steve Jobs' story, he reached a point where he couldn't manage, where the board voted him out because of a few incompetencies. I've also reached a point in my life where I believe if I didn't have a team around me and Ssempijja was totally running on me, it would have failed.
Speaking of running it, is it just your idea?
It is. What do you mean?
Like, is it a team? Do you wake up in the morning and dictate your own principles? Because this is also a small startup. Usually, dictating is not entirely a bad thing for the business when you have a vision, because then it's usually only you that understands the vision you have. Much as the team could be, the team wants to make a buck and go away at the end of the day. Yeah. Make their buck go away. So they want their set rules of, I want to come, do this, and we'll move away. But how inspiring are you to them that they can really come up with ideas?
I think I just got lucky. Along the way, I got people who believed in what I was doing from the core. I got people who said, you know what, I want to work for you, even if you're not paying me. I believe in your dream, and I want to help you build it.
What does that mean to you? For you as for
me,
that speaks volumes for your personality. That means your friends are willing to really. If someone is willing to support your dream, they're willing to go down for you.
Exactly. So it's all about now. When these people come in, as a person, I knew I had to build meaningful relationships with these people. I knew that these people have come in to give me what they have, but I also have to give them. I have to give them a part of my life. I have to guide them. It has to be a symbiotic relationship. They have to gain in this as well. So I got blessed with about 4 people that believed in the vision, and I believe they're not in it for the buck. There are people I can express my emotions to. There are people I can express myself to, and they won't judge me. However, they will make sure they do everything in their power to make me a better person. So I got blessed with these people that have made this journey possible. I should say, without them, I wouldn't have gone so far. But there are these instrumental people. Of course, Ssempijja is a sole proprietorship. I have 100% shares. So it all gets back to me.
Are you going to list anytime?
Yeah, that's the vision.
It's not even inevitable for
Yeah,
you
of
to
course.
start
If I'm to scale and do all that, I need to.
I want to buy shares sometime, by the way. You should really know. And I also will tell you how in the previous times, people like to call it all Twitter. I actually got famous because of an iPhone.
Because you had an iPhone.
Yes. And how it happened is I actually had a girlfriend. I used to call myself Keron. The I was for the iPhone. Then the partner was also, they had an I to them. So people used to be about it. I used to talk about the iPhone, how my iPhone. So one day my phone got stolen at Legends, made noise about it. It was just that feeling the iPhone gives you when you have it. And I see it with a lot of people. I still see it with, let me take this as well. So I'll definitely buy shares. I really was a fanatic until I realized that the pressure and stuff. But all that when you list, please. The problem is about where's the shop? Shares. Those people have money.
Yeah. So that is in the long term. But so I was still telling you about the story of Steve Jobs. There's a time the board considered him incompetent to run the company, and that's when he was fired. However, I believe the DNA of the company was with Steve Jobs. And everything started going down as soon as he resigned. I think after he was kicked out,
do you think the same thing happened to Twitter? Jack resigned, they appointed Parang. Now under Parang is when Elon Musk
wants to take over.
Yeah,
I believe I don't support the idea of Elon Musk taking over Twitter.
I believe. Why wouldn't you support that? Let's first talk about that.
I believe it would.
Twitter taking away. Twitter will take you off, Stanley. I've seen your opinions. If you believe that Elon Musk shouldn't take, they will deactivate your account with time because you're going to get so much power from just being an entrepreneur, and that is a scare. Once you get so much power in the current digital life, how the disadvantage with it is these platforms are now in position to dictate who can be the next leader. It's now going to be so easy to get Bobby Wine run a successful campaign. Bobby Wine or whoever opposition can be in the time, run a successful campaign just through digital platforms. And this is how Donald Trump won his elections out there, manipulating just big data. So if Twitter has so much power, if we don't have an open-minded CEO like Elon, and Twitter has so much power, that means they decide what is right and what is wrong. And that situation, you don't want it with anyone. That is why personally I support Elon taking over. Because Elon, to him, no one has so much power. We're all equal, everyone deserves. He has done the same thing with the Russia-Ukraine war, where he provided communication, I think, in Ukraine, where he just wants everyone for us to be able to get both sides of stories, if they're happening. So you don't want to be in a position where, because you've amassed so much power, and your opinion carries some good weight, you're shut down for that. They've done that to Donald Trump and other conservatives in the US. And I think it's a bad thing. Everyone should be able to say how they feel. It's at the end of the day, it's just opinions. Our realities are in our moments. We have to realize them as us. Yeah. So first of all, those ones want to upgrade, so we'll talk about them after. But what was
Can we wrap this up in
a bit?
Yeah.
So we are going to talk about your legacy and we get done. Basically, that is actually it. So, just a minute, let me see. Do you think about death?
Yeah, I think about. I have a friend of mine who usually talks about death and its reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your death plan? Do you have one? Have you thought about it deeply?
Not deeply. I would love to believe that.
Are you scared of death?
Yes, I'm scared of death, but I would love to believe that it's not something that I know it can happen to me anytime now, but it's not something I'm thinking about so much.
So what is the actual legacy? This is the final question. What's the actual legacy you're trying to leave behind before you die? And I also think you shouldn't be scared of death because it has proven it happens to anyone, whether you're God or what, anyone dies. So we should really and that's where the power of meditating to me comes in. When you meditate and you can listen to your present being, then there you could know that whatever is happening in your body can come to an end and it can stop. That's the beauty. So it's to have as many conversations. My legacy in terms of me, it's to have as many conversations with people like you that are trying to really start up things, to have like that legacy. And it's just not a one-time thing. I'll call you back over and over again if you have new improvements, if you have other things. We'll probably talk about the shoes some other time and why you're cross-venturing. How is the fashion business, by the way?
The fashion business is, we just started, and we are trying to study the market and trying to beat the market.
How much are the shoes though? I'm a big shoe fan.
The
I
range.
think with Ugandan shoe sellers is you're giving us that high copies and you're pricing them so expensively that what you look at a sneaker and it's 350,000 and it's not really a sneaker.
So our goal at Ngata store is to make sure you provide the most genuine shoes at the most affordable prices in town.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are looking at striking partnerships with international shoe brands like Nike, Puma to become one of their distributors. That's our long-term goal as Ngata store. Yeah, now, so my legacy, I have, over time, I've realized the power that money has. You can use it for the right reason, you can use it for the wrong reason. You can use it to help uplift other people's lives. You can also use it to make people suffer or to downplay other people. Yeah. So I want to be that person that helped as many people achieve their goals.
As possible.
Yeah, and that comes down to the people I work with. That's come down to the people I serve. When I give you something, I want it to make your life better, not worse. I don't want to give you a phone that is going to make you curse why you ever met me. I want to give you something that is going to make your life better. So my legacy is I want to help as many people as possible achieve their dreams. The same way I'm seeing myself realize some of my dreams, because the people who helped me, the people who inspired me. So I want to inspire as many people.
Who inspired you? Do you have a name?
Yeah, he's called Peter, Mr. Peter Ndiwalana. I don't think he knows that, but he was one of my biggest inspirations.
Why?
It was basically because of how he was using his money to help other people and how he was living his life. Yeah, so I also wanted to be like him at a certain point in my life. I set certain goals that I've seen myself achieve. I set certain dreams that I'm now living. So I want to help as many people achieve their dreams. I want to help as many people reach where they are trying to go. I want to help as many people be satisfied with their lives.
Interesting. Now, the last question: what does death look like to you?
Death for me is the end. Yeah,
I believe that's the end.
I believe that's the end.
No external life. Are you Christian?
Do
you believe in God?
I believe in God. I believe in God, but I'm not so sure about what happens after, because there's so many theories about what happens after. But to me now, death is the end of someone.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is the end of the podcast. Thank you, Stanley.
Thank you so much. It was
this is nice
being hosted here.
Me too. Nice to have you.